Hey there, folks. One potentially interesting fact about me is that I grew up in a house with 8 cats. You heard that right, 8. There was 6 people, me, my 3 siblings, and my parents, and 8 cats. They outnumbered us. And you might think, does that mean your mom was a crazy cat lady? And the answer is, sort of. Not really, but kinda. Here's how we ended up with 8 cats. First, we had 2 cats. We had Manu, which is Manu is French for meow. I don't know where the French get the N sound, but I don't know. Manu and her daughter Duchess, and they were big, plump, long-haired, fluffy, luxurious-looking cats that wouldn't look out of place on a silk pillow next to an emperor's throne or something like that. And that was fine. 2 cats, normal amount of cats. Then, one brutally cold December night, the cat that we would eventually know as Blossom had her litter of kittens right on our back porch. I guess she could smell that cats lived there and figured, well, close enough. Well, obviously, we took her and her kittens in. We gave away as many of them as we could at the time. But then we still had some left. And that's how we ended up with Blossom, her daughter Ace, and her son Coog, and Trigger Tripod. Now, Trigger was originally just named after a certain famous horse. He got the Trigger Tripod name because he lost a leg when he was just barely born. He was born under a bed, and there were a bunch of electrical cords under the bed, and one of those electrical cords got wrapped around his little leg, and, well, yeah, it had to be amputated. But you'll be happy to know, little Trigger Tripod, he got around actually quite well. The missing leg meant that he didn't walk as fast as other cats, but weirdly enough, he could run as fast as other cats. Go figure. And he ended up being such a sweet cat because, obviously we all felt terribly bad for him. So he was hand-raised. So he was very much a people cat. He loved people because all his life people had loved him. So he did fine. Then, because, see, my mom's very sweet. Very sweet. And tender and kind. And she did not believe in keeping cats inside. So our cats were indoor-outdoor cats. I spent a lot of time in my youth standing with a door open waiting for a cat to go through it. But because they're indoor-outdoor cats, and because they were not fixed or spayed, both Ace and Blossom got pregnant at the same time. And then we ended up with what I can only describe as a squadron of kittens. Obviously, we gave away as many as we could. The point is, after all was said and done, we had 8 cats. Plus 2 we were feeding that were strays. So we fed them on the back porch. That's just the kind of person my mom is. So for me, as a kid who didn't have to do most of the actual work of looking after a cat, I didn't clean the litter box, I didn't feed them. It was great. It was fantastic. It was always a cat. Any room of the house. If I was lonely or just needed company, there was the cats. It was always a cat to pet. It was fantastic. It did mean we had somewhat of a weird household, although as a kid you don't think about that. All childhoods are normal until you start comparing notes with other kids. You could be raised in a lighthouse, and that would still be normal to you. One of our couches had one of its arms just clawed to shit by the cats sharpening their claws. That was perfectly normal. Half the arm was gone. People would visit, and we were just like, oh yeah, the cats do that. That was my cat-filled childhood. I'm very grateful for that. It was an eccentric childhood, but we were an eccentric household. We're a family of bookish, nerdy intellectuals with eccentric personalities. I wouldn't have it any other way. Guess that's it for me for today, folks. I will talk to you nice people again tomorrow. Bye-bye.